today I have my buddies here, and we got a lot to talk about. It was a week of stuff. So let's start off with my fellow Jayhawk, Patrick. Say hey to the people.
Hey everybody, Rock Chalk Jayhawk, coming to you live from Lawrence, Kansas, home of the maybe next come Monday night we may be the national champions. We'll see. Pretty good time.
The winningest team in NCAA history. Yes. Okay, and now we have our buddy David. Say hey to the people, David.
Hello, everybody. Great to be with you. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight, so stay tuned.
Yeah, David's maybe not as enthusiastic as us. And so today we're going to talk about the Oscars and everything that happened. We might have a caller. And we're going to talk about Disney's premiere of Moon Knight, as well as the latest hit to drop from Netflix, Bridgerton. We're going to talk about these Bridgerton, as well as the FX series Atlanta, which dropped after a few years, and for its final season, and Upload on Amazon Prime. So let's start off with a discussion, not for very long, but the Oscars. So many highs, so many lows.
Just really one low. Unless you count Coda. It's just really one low, man. It was a big low.
It was a gigantic low. And let's talk about the highs. And what did you guys feel like was like the best moment moments in the telecast?
Well, I was glad to see Dune get so much love. You know, they got a lot more things than I thought they were going to get, a lot more awards just because of all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a gorgeous movie, like we talked about last week. But I didn't expect them to get as much as they did. I was pretty excited because I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I agree with Pat on that. This was a fantastic movie. Science fiction films sometimes can be dismissed by the Academy. This one, of course, though, is based on great literature and the foundation of so many science fiction pieces. It was beautifully done, and they were smart. They cut it in half. We only got half the book in this movie.
Right.
And deserving of all the accolades, fantastic. I loved Kevin Costner's speech before the before one of the presentations. He talked about going to the movies and how much he loved that, watching an old Western flick. And I thought it really gave such a level of decorum and love of the movies, which all three of us, even though there are things that one of us, we'll like different things more so than others, but we have a love for cinema. And he really espoused that last night, I think, after the melee. And I thought it was a nice way to have a level of decorum. Billie Eilish singing and her Oscar, that was another piece that I really loved. I've never heard anyone her age with such a soulful voice. Really beautiful. So those were my highs.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, it was just so nice. And it was a celebration. There were a lot of touches of Black excellence there. I mean, Will Packer had an all-Black production team, first time ever. The Beyonce coming back after, 5 years of not doing any kind of telecast. And Questlove winning for Summer Soul. Remember I said that was the one I was really hoping for, because that was a fantastic documentary. And the three hosts were doing great, and having a lot of fun. There are a lot of funny bits in what they were doing. And so, everything was just rolling along. And then they brought a lot of new things to attract the younger audience with the fan favorites and the best movie of the year, some of those things, which, you got a lot of young people back invested in it. Mm-hmm. And then the moment happened that was just ridiculous. And okay, so here's what I think. Well, no, you guys tell me what you think, and then I have it from perspective. David, why
You
don't
go
you
ahead
tell us
first, Dave.
first?
All right. Well, unfortunate. It's sad. You can't do that, but I get it. I actually I don't want to be too hypocritical with Will Smith on that. If it shows that it's not the right course of action, but it is a course of action when someone you love is, if somebody says something. I was at an event with my wife several years ago, and a guy that I hadn't met, he popped off about Kentucky basketball. And I told him, I said, you say something about my wife, my mother, or the integrity of my team, and we're going to have a problem. And I was really loud. And I did give him the telephone number to the NCAA compliance office and said if he knew something, call Chuck Wynn. That was the guy at the time. Otherwise, shut, and I won't share the expletives that I said. But I gave him the card, and I urged him to call the NCAA, and I walked away. I thought about taking a pop at him. I really wanted to, but
What?
I thought that was over the top. So as I'm watching Will Smith and I'm thinking, man, this is terrible, I'm also looking in the mirror and say, I get it. You're wrong, but I know where you're coming from. So that's exactly I thought of my experience at that party when I watched him do what he did. And
Huh?
so anyway,
Isn't that something? Okay, Pat, what did you think?
Well, I thought about what my mother used to tell me: sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. So when someone gets up there and says something, and you notice in the subsequent week, some of the video, Will's laughing at that till he sees Jada's all upset about it, and then he's like, oh wait, I was supposed to react to that, and then he has to do something really outrageous to kind of to
yeah,
to repair the thing. And I
Hmm.
understand that Will is probably going through a lot. With find out his wife decided they're going to be in an open relationship, which,
No, they've been in an open relationship,
well, instead of smacking the
but
guy who
it
made a joke
wasn't
about your wife, you might
public.
want to smack the guy who's sleeping with your wife. Just a thought. Just a
Thank
thought.
you,
That might be something I'd
thank
be a
you,
little more upset about,
yeah,
thank you,
perhaps. And there's
thank
there's
you.
never there's never an excuse to put your hands on somebody. And I'll tell you what, if I was Chris Rock, I would have walked off that stage and got on my phone. I would have pressed charges on that dude and said, you know what? I got about 2,000 witnesses, and I even got a video recording of it. So come on down.
yeah.
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
surprised he didn't press charges. He certainly was well within his rights.
yeah, and I
Totally
think
should have.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think he's a nice dude, and he didn't want anything. If you haven't see the interview on Good Morning America with Will Packer, and he was there with Chris and the police. And the police were like, "We're ready to take him now." And Chris was like, "No, no, 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 no. I don't want anything to happen. I just want to, get my stuff and go." And they were like, and even Will Packer had to say, "Hey, Chris, stop. Listen to what they have to say."
yeah,
Now here's what I think. Might not be popular, but I don't care. So for me, I just thought it was the wrong thing for Will Smith to do. He could have, from his seat, said, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." That would have had the same effect of stopping Chris Rock from, and chastising Chris Rock. He probably would have gotten cheered for it. Um, and for me, as a wife, sometimes you got to save your man from himself. When I would have pulled at his coat and said, "No, no, nuh-uh. Let's talk to him afterwards. And then I'm taking my earrings off and shoes off, and we can handle it that moment. But not here at a work event." And I
yeah.
don't know why
Nationally televised work
a
event.
Work event. Yeah,
internationally worldwide broadcast of it. And so there's so much I could say about her and her role is, but I don't know why people say he was saying something. How was he supposed to know she's suffering from alopecia? I mean, every comic is supposed to get out and say, let me investigate if this person's having a problem, and then not say it because no. I mean, it wasn't that funny of a joke. She could have deaded
No.
the whole situation by just not responding to it, and
Everybody would have forgotten about
everything,
the joke by now. No one would have
everybody
remembered
would have
that joke
forgotten,
because it wasn't that
about
good.
the
Oh yeah.
situation. This brought up for them again their infidelity, how she put him out there on that red tabletop. That man ain't been right since. And so but I like what DL Hughley had to say, which was, when you see a plane crash, you see what happens is a lot of things have to go wrong for that plane to crash. There are redundancy in place to check to make sure things don't happen, and all of those things have to fail for a plane to crash. And I think that's what we witnessed. Like D.L. Hughley said, we watched a plane crash. We watched the most beloved international superstar in a split second damage his reputation, for a long time. I won't say forever, but he's messed up his career for sure. And if it was some kind of need to be seen as a tough guy, or something like that, nah, you Will Smith. People love you for who you are. Now you ruined your brand. So it was just the wrong thing. I thought his speech afterwards was horrible.
Well, that was
He didn't
awful.
take any accountability.
It was
There
it
was
was
another moment
it was yeah it was an
he could have saved the
abuser's
situation.
excuse. I loved her so much I had to beat her.
I mean,
Forget that.
my thing was, all he had to do was say, Chris Rock, I apologize for putting my hands on you. That's not the right thing to do. We'll discuss it afterwards. And, hopefully we can move on from it. That's the adult thing to do. And so he got in that speech and brought up the what's the name? The Richard Williams, and and he was protecting people. I was like, no,
He's on a
it was a
set. He's on a
gross
movie set.
overreaction
Yeah.
to something that was a silly throwaway thing, and everything he'd been going into, made that situation happen. So I was just saddened because I don't want to see that happen. I was saddened for Will Packer and the production. I thought Amy Schumer's bit when she
Oh
came
yeah.
out, I thought that
Did I
was
miss
great.
something?
That kind of lightened it a little bit, but it didn't get back on track after that.
No.
You
No.
couldn't. You just watched the man
And,
destroy himself.
and you know who I felt really bad for? Questlove. That was his award that took all away from.
All of it
He
from
got up there
him.
and all of a sudden, because all of us are at home trying to figure out if this was a stage thing. But then when they bleeped out the
Yeah,
sound, you
you
could
didn't
read
want to
Will
believe
Smith's
it.
lips. I could read his lips. And I was like, holy crap. And then you start looking on Twitter and so forth, and you find all the actual unedited portions from outside of the
Yeah.
U.S. And I'm like, yeah, that was not scheduled. That was not
No,
planned. That was bad.
no.
And Chris
And
really
I was just
handled
like,
himself well.
yes, Chris handled it the way an adult, responsible person does, and continued the help the production continue. Removed himself from the situation, and he could have popped off with some really good one-liners back at him and really put him on Front Street, but he didn't. He just walked away, and that's the thing that you do is just get up, walk away. Now, I don't think that Will should turn back in his Oscar. I don't think that, but there will be some consequences. I mean, I think he's resigned from the Academy at this point. And but he could always, reapply. If he resigns
You,
before
you,
they suspend or expel him, he could reapply again. I mean,
you know who the
so
happiest person in the whole theater was, don't you? Mel Gibson because all of a sudden he doesn't look like the biggest asshole in the room. Pardon my French, anybody?
Yeah, he is. He still is. But look at
Well, I
him.
don't know.
His career,
They're
his
bad too.
career had to take a dive,
Yep.
and Adrian Brody for doing that kiss with Halle Berry, his career never recovered really the way it should have. So things you do at the Oscars can elevate you, or they could definitely bring you down. So, you people are out here like it's a split for what you think, but at the end of the day, don't put your hands on somebody in public like that. But that's just not the way to handle it. Now, we'll see what the ultimate outcome will be, but I was saddened nobody talked to Chris Rock and comfort him because he was actually the one assaulted. So all
Yeah.
that stuff people were giving Will Smith, that just kind of sickened me too. So
Yeah.
and we'll see what's going to happen, but it's a very very sad event and scary for comedians now, because now you
Yeah.
say something they don't like, they could just come up and smack you. That's how it's going to go. I mean, this is what we've seen now, and at the end of the day, it's just not right. So ah, now on to more weird, strange, complicated series, Moon Knight from Marvel and Disney Plus.
Looks like someone mistook the Great Pyramid of Giza for a rubbish dump.
It's not like there's anything in there.
Yeah, maybe not. But in there, something wicked. You're not gonna die. Let me save us.
Sorry, who do you think I am?
Pat, won't you give us some background if you know it on
Well,
Moon Knight?
Moon Knight's not one of the characters I read a lot about. I am familiar with it. Moon Knight always had in the original Golden Age, Modern Age, whatever you want to call it, comics. He was a detective by day, a mercenary adventure detective type of thing, who had been possessed of the moon god Khonshu when he went to do something in the pyramids and became basically a nocturnal avenger, aka Marvel's answer to Batman, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
No big
Okay.
superpowers other than at nighttime he transforms into this avenger of the downtrodden, and just sort of more recent books that they've been coming with. They're definitely playing to the multiple personalities or in the certain levels of psychosis that Mark Spector, who is the actual character name of the Bruce Wayne of him.
Okay.
They've been playing to the psychotic issues where like he sees other people. He was on the Avengers. He was in the Avengers for quite a while. Moon Knight was, and then he, because he's channeling like Wolverine or somebody else talking to him about how you should handle this, how you should handle that kind of thing. It's an interesting character. I'm interested to see where they go with it. They did some really good things about the whole blacking out and losing time sequences throughout the series, where all of a sudden he's just like, and then he wakes up and the dudes are all laying around him in various unconscious states, and he's driving a car. All of a sudden he's like, what the hell? He's not seeing the steps. There's going to be some really interesting stuff. I'm really interested to see. This is a good chance for Oscar Isaac to really show some acting stripes, because he's going to be playing multiple characters, multiple personalities, all looking like him. So I'm really looking forward to this. It was a good opening sequence, put it that way.
Yeah, David, what'd you think?
Well, and I'm not familiar with Moon Knight, so
Right.
outside of the action figures, when Marvel started making their 4-inch figures with Hasbro, I thought, oh, that's a cool figure. I thought it was neat. I love the little time lapse thing. I thought that was a great setup until the very end when you see Moon Knight at the end. You don't see him or his capabilities until the end. Enjoyed that. Ethan Hawke, fantastic to have him as part of this show. A great actor, so you can kind of see the two of them maybe playing off of one another. Once again, the Marvel shows, they give us something different in every one of these. And here, maybe because of the psychosis, the split personalities, maybe we're seeing something more on the, some of the mental challenges that people have. We wait to see on that. But I thought it's a fun way to kind of start off the spring, and let's see where it goes.
Kind of a dark way to start off the spring.
Well, with the Oscars, I think we've already started off.
Yeah, we're already on an upward curve already.
Way,
Come on now.
So okay. So I had to watch it a couple times because I was like, what did I just watch the first time I saw it?
Right.
And so I'm wondering if they're going to do it like Mr. Robot. And this is all a part of his psychosis. And these characters are in his head. And which would be interesting. That would be a super interesting take on, a traditional superhero kind of story. And so I'm interested to see what the three characters. I mean, we had the great F. Murray Abraham, doing the voice of that. I don't know what the voice is called. Khonshu.
Yeah,
and
the Egyptian god of vengeance.
Okay. And then because I was like, is it really his mother on the phone? Or is it just him talking to himself? He's losing time, and people who have psychotic breaks have these fugue states where they lose time.
Right.
And they don't know what they did during their break with reality. And there's always a villain. They're like the superhero fighting some villain. So it would be interesting to me if this was a traditional superhero story, or is it a story about a man suffering with untreated mental illness? So I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely got, but I was like, wait a minute. I wanted to see when they blanked out and all you saw were the people on the ground. I wanted to see at least some hands and feet, like beating up people, even if you didn't see his face or something, to see the action. But the scene with the car going down the hill, and going backwards down that twisty road, which is a real road, that was incredible. I thought that sequence was just amazing. Yep. So I think, of course, Marvel's going to do great stuff with the action, but I'm wanting to see where they're going to go with the story. So I guess I'll take back my and give it a tentative. Okay, I'll be invested to see where they go, but they better get to it because it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, pretty much April is all Moon Knight and maybe a week in March. So definitely check that out. Okay, coming up next for all the lovers out there is back, baby. Bridgerton season 2. Anthony and Kate.
I know that gentleman.
Who? Though you have quite the eye. Viscount Bridgerton is wealthy, well-connected, and from one of the town's most illustrious families. He may very well be our most eligible bachelor indeed.
He is very handsome.
Yes. I suppose he is.
I had thought you might not wish to see me after the, events of late.
Yes. I thought you might offer me some stimulating conversation.
Ah. I never did learn the true reason why the Viscount and his bride did not walk back down the aisle together.
romance as opposed to last year's 50 Shades of Grey. So light on the intimacy, but strong on the character development as well as the story was really excellent, I felt like. And I really loved that there were so many touches of South Asian culture in it. And you haven't seen that in a lot of mainstream American story, especially in this time period. And so I know the South Asian community is so excited and proud to see people and dark skinned South Asian women get some love and shine in the series. But I love Shonda Rhimes, how she makes the cast multicultural. It's true that Queen Charlotte was of African descent, and so the look of her is probably pretty close. And that there were sprinkles of diverse people in society there. You don't hear much about that, but that is true. And so I like that they bring that out in these stories, and that there's such a diverse and well thought out attention, especially being paid this season to the South Asian culture. So it was almost, I just wanted more sexy stuff. But as South Asian is more conservative culture, then I understand there was some restraint there. But next time, bring more instead of heavy breathing, heavy everything else. What y'all think?
So now we're going to talk about what's on the PJamma Life After Dark is kind of the this episode. I just started watching it, so I haven't gone through the full series, despite Netflix's ability to allow you to binge. It is fun. It's light, and it takes your mind and cares away from the troubles. Love the period piece of it. With the manners and the decorum and all of that stuff and the outfits, and it's the pretty version of the Charles Dickens world with everybody living nice as opposed to what London really was like at the time. So a fun, nice escape, enjoyable, whether it's 50 Shades of Grey or more Hallmark Channel. It's a light fare for the palate. So
yeah. And I think there's 8 books because there's 7 kids, I think. And so I think they got picked up for 7 seasons. So I think we'll see each book being made into a series. Okay, Pat, what did you think? I knew it.
It was. I mean, I watched 4 episodes. I was going through it. Oh my God, it's so pretty cool. First episode, I'm like, oh, those two are going to get together. They're going to hate each other. They're going to fall in love. I haven't even seen the whole thing. I don't know what happens to them, but I'm going to tell you that's what happened at the end. There's some, and then that little trailer you showed, I hadn't seen the failed wedding. Big surprise. Oh, whoa, who saw that coming? Everybody did. Everybody saw that coming.
I mean, it's not supposed to be like a big mystery.
No, but I like to be intrigued. I like to see something that I don't predict. I'm like, okay, I enjoy the way I like the costumes, the world, but it's just ridiculous, and it's okay, and I enjoyed it. You know what? I like to eat candy too. Sometimes, but is it good for me? No. Does it make me stronger? No. But it's sweet and it's fun. And it's candy, and it's okay. And I like candy. I get it, and I love to eat chocolate. Whatever. But it's not great for you. It doesn't expand you except your waistline, which you don't want to expand. But I'm just saying it's okay and it's fun, and I'm not saying that it's terrible or anything. I'm just saying it's
not your cup of
new.
tea.
It's not my
I've been
cup
waiting
of
to say
tea.
that. Oh,
well, it's like I said, the costumes are wonderful. Everything is just too fairy.
The acting is superb.
Fairy tale.
Yeah, and the acting to me is superb. I think this season didn't have as much tension and drama. I mean, and so in that sense, but it's I would sit and watch this as opposed to some other stuff that's dark and depressing and people murdering people and people slapping people on the Oscar stage. I mean, I'd much rather watch this than, some of the real life stuff that's going on. So it's great escapism. If you're into this genre, I think you'll be very pleased with it. And there's some differences from the books that I might do in a series, but definitely I think you should check out Bridgerton. And okay, so next is FX and Hulu's third season of the hit show Atlanta.
You don't need Shark Tank to pitch that idea, okay? You have people around you now who can invest in it. You know, Fernando's a billionaire. How many billionaires do you know?
Oh, shit. All right, this is a billionaire house, man.
I hope you weren't put off by my neighbors. I found my lifestyle attracts unwanted attention. I've had to find creative ways to protect myself. I hope I'm not too presumptuous in asking you this, but do you like trees?
Oh. Real ass tree right there, man.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, David.
But now I didn't see in
Okay.
I didn't. No. I mean, I saw it. I did, but I had a question with the research. This is the third season. I haven't seen the earlier episodes. Was Donald's hair? Did he make this when he made Solo? Because it had that Lando-esque feel. His hairstyle in this. Looking at my action figures, I caught that. I was like, hey, man, this is a really smart and funny show. This is really well done. And Donald is a real true Renaissance man. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. And I mean, he's got to get a lot of credit. His music can be thought-provoking. He's funny. He can do drama. The guy is a legit talent. And this show really showcases that and the ensemble cast of people that he brought there. So, big win. I'm going to go back. I watched some of this season. I want to go back and start over with episode 1 and kind of catch back up with the whole thing of Atlanta now.
And I definitely recommend, if you don't catch any season, if you catch season 1, episode 7, BAN, band, that is one of the greatest episodes of TV in a long time. It's funny. It is talks about culture. There's a lot of things in there that are biting, but also with some truth. Awesome. And I think so. I've watched all the seasons and caught up, and this show has made the three of them superstars. Okay, you got Donald Glover, you've got Byron, what's his name? Brian Tyree Henry.
Mm-hmm.
He's now blown up. Zazie Beetz she's in Marvel now in Deadpool as Domino. Plus she's in a couple of other things. I mean, you are seeing them after that first season, their careers just exploded because it was talent. And so I was surprised actually that they came back and did a third season because all of them are in major property. I mean, like the biggest of the biggest properties now. So to see them back and doing Atlanta is really great. But the stories are very poignant. I think the first episode you will watch, it doesn't connect to the series in a way, but it tells the true story of foster care in our system and how it's broken. And the story about, I forget the name of the town, but this real story of what happened and this happened in several other places in the US where successful black towns, the white power structure just came in and said, get out, we're going to create a river here, and then flooded out the town, in some cases killing a lot of the residents. The Tennessee Valley Authority and some of these other things that they did, places in all over. So that's a really interesting. But then I was like, what's that got to do with Atlanta? The character. I like the story, but I was like, what? So the show is quirky. The characters are quirky. Lakeith Stanfield, I forgot to name him. His career blew up. He was in Get Out, during the first season. I think this came out, and then his career has been incredible. Last year, and the Fred Hemp, what's his name? The one about the Black Panther revolutionary.
Oh, Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton. His career is just fantastic. So, fantastic series. Stick with it. You won't be disappointed. And Pat, you haven't gotten a chance to look at it yet?
I didn't. I have not got to see it yet.
Okay.
I just
but you go and check
it got
it
warm
out.
and I had things to do outdoors. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I will.
Well, definitely check it out. I think it'll, if nothing else, if you want something to discuss, you with your friends, this show definitely gives you a lot to discuss and digest. Okay, so we're coming up on our last pick, which was one of my favorite series on Amazon Prime, Upload.
I need to relax. Everything is just not good, and I need to accept that she's gone.
Yeah. Nora's gone, your murderer is on the loose, and if they ever find out that you got your memories back, they're gonna come after you again. Meanwhile, you're trapped living with Ingrid, who is...
Ingrid's not so bad.
Wasn't she in on the plot to have you killed?
Freeland has a kind of pioneer spirit that I admire. People building their own afterlives.
Oh, have you ever seen one of these? It's an envelope. It's how your ancestors got spam.
Now I know why Luke says all those nice things about you.
Wait. Luke says nice things? About me? What nice things? Well, don't leave me hanging.
Okay. Pat, did you get a chance to watch Upload?
I watched the entire first season. I'd seen it last year when it came out, and I got through several of the episodes this time to get all the way through it. But it's an interesting take, and it is a good logical extension of where we're going with technology. You would think that there would be a point, and it's not the first. I mean, science fiction has been playing with the idea of eternal life by uploading your brain into a computer. The Bobaverse and several of the other books that I've read, talk about that. How you can just push yourself into something. I didn't enjoy. I like it. It's okay. It's not great. A lot of it feels forced. It feels kind of like they're trying to borrow too many things. It's not bad. It's good. It's better than Bridgerton, but okay. It's less predictable than Bridgerton, I should say. I mean, they're both equally good. I like a lot of things about Bridgerton, but this is good.
Whatever for you. David, what do you think?
All right. Well, if we're doing the Bridgerton in this comparison, I will take Bridgerton. I couldn't get into it. It wasn't my kind of science fiction. It was just it just left me hanging.
Both of you. Whatever. Laters for both of you. Later gators for both of you. I love this series. The first season kind of knocked me off my seat. I was like, wow, I love this. And I really like the characters. I like some of the sly things they have. Like everything is corporatized, right? University is University of Los Angeles Cheetos. I mean, real way. Or like Burger King Intel. Or, it's just all of these partnerships. And it's a really interesting take on class too. That's what I really like. It's a story about class as well, that the wealthy are able to not just in real life have it made, but then they get to download their consciousness into the wealthiest of the wealthy and still have a good life. But your afterlife is corporatized. So you can upload into the future, but it costs you for everything. So, even the simplest things have a charge. And which was I was like, well, how does that work indefinitely? And so it was just really interesting story to me about that. And then kind of how capitalism then corrupts even the afterlife. And so I just thought that was really interesting. I like the characters. Zainab Johnson as Alicia. I thought she's super funny. She's a comedian. But Pat, I'm really surprised. This is created by Greg Daniels, who did The Office and Parks and
It,
Rec
it,
and
it
all these
feels kind of
other
like it,
great
but
shows. And
it feels
Kevin
like a
has a
recycled version of these things.
tenure. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
thought it was.
I can see, I could see that it was either an ode to, or it was someone similar doing it, because it had that feel, the kind of, the out of place. I mean, there was some pretty stock characters kind of going on there. It was an interesting idea. Like I said, the afterlife going into it, and the class difference, and I mean,
Yeah, the two kids. I was like, oh god.
it was definitely well tilled ground already. I'm going to put it that way. Is what I thought.
I thought it was interesting, and I like that the this season got a little bit darker. So I think the first season was kind of light and fluffy, and then this season you got to see. But one character I love to hate is, I think his name. What is his name? But he was a cigarette man in the X Files.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's always such a
Oh,
great villain. And David Choke is his character in the show. And he's going around in the afterlife eating like endangered species just because he can. He's just the worst of the worst. And so it's really interesting to see his character this season too. So I think you guys don't like it, but I don't care. I like it. I thought it was a real interesting, different kind of example. Now, for a darker kind of take on uploading consciousness, Amazon Prime's The Feed is also fantastic. So definitely check that one out as well. But I like this kind of futuristic story of the little guy sticking it to the man.
I liked it better as Get Out.
This is not like Get Out. Where you get that?
No, I like consciousness moving from.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, yeah, that was real dark.
Yeah, I mean that.
Well, Get Out was more to me the Stepford Wives, like with the racial version, and so but I love them both. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So definitely check it out, and then you can see for yourself. But as we celebrate the Jayhawks, we got good stuff coming up next week. And next week, each week we'll talk about Moon Knight and talk about what we like and maybe not like about the series. Next week, we're also going to look at Pieces of Her on Netflix and the series Woke on Hulu and FX. So that is out. And so definitely check those out. And do we have any final words that we want to talk about? Oh, hey, Electric Melanin. Electric Melanin is here. Rock Chalk, Electric Melanin, Jayhawk. All right. And the Spoiler Kings. Hey to the Spoiler Kings. They're visiting us today as well. So, guys, final words?
Hope everybody has a wonderful week and enjoy themselves. May your gas prices go down wherever you are.
Mm-hmm. Patrick?
Just like you said, Rock Chalk Jayhawks, I'll be watching breathlessly Monday for the national championship to go where it belongs in Lawrence, Kansas, where I live.
Yeah, me too. And don't call me during the game. I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I sure watch these Final Fours and finals when KU is in them. So definitely we'll be cheering on our beloved Jayhawks. And everybody be safe this weekend and take care. And we'll see you next time on PJamma Live. Bye.
So long, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Right.